Hello, crafty friends. It's Teri with Teri's Mailbox, and I'm so excited to be presenting for ScrapbookPal's YouTube channel. So this is the gorgeous Spellbinders Glimmering Peony hot foil plate with coordinating stencils. So here is that hot foil plate, and it's actually larger than an A2 card, so you've got lots of options there. And here are the 5 coordinating layered stencils that go with the set. So my plan is to do 3 unique cards on 3 different bases. One is a lilac cardstock, one is white cougar cardstock, and the third is actually a medium weight vellum, which turned out to be my favorite. So there I was kind of heating up the hot foil plate on my Glimmer machine. And again, I always dislodge it from the bottom and then add the shims, and then I ran it through my die cutting machine and wait for the reveal. Look at how gorgeous that is. And I'm just using Spellbinders gold foil, which worked very, very well, and I used it on all 3 examples. So here's that lilac cardstock. Look at how pretty that is. That turned out just really well. And the third one is the vellum. And like I say, I think the vellum ended up to be my favorite, but you're going to see how I put all these cards together. And I do want to show you that you can use the negative pieces. Again, this one adds more foil, but again, what a pretty card base. So right now I am using, this is the Let's Celebrate press plate. Let's Celebrate sentiments. And so again, it's got 3 or 4 larger sentiments, and then it's got a bunch of smaller ones, which would be appropriate for the inside. So here I've done them on the vellum again. And look at that gold foil on the vellum. That's just gorgeous. And so then I decided to go ahead and do the negative. So again, I've got that foil piece there. So again, you put it pretty side down on your base plate and go ahead and run it through, and then you can see all of that great foil. So again, I pulled out the dies and die cut them. I just thought this was just a unique, unique look. So again, here is that Let's Celebrate Sentiment Better Press set. So again, here are kind of the samples of what I created today. So again, all kinds of different options. I just think it's a lot of fun. So I'm using my stamp wheel sticky mat right now. So I'm going to go ahead and attach my paper. And again, you'll notice that I'm operating on half of an 8.5 by 11 cardstock because I just think it's easier rather than trying to center your image. So I go ahead and do it on the larger cardstock first and then trim. So again, I used a little bit of tape to hold it down since, I'm using larger cardstock. So again, I'm just kind of pulling out some of the colors here, and you can see my bundled sage pad was thirsty, so I had to re-ink it there. So we'll go ahead and keep working. So what I'm using is the bundled sage, peeled paint, saltwater taffy, abandoned coral, and some picked raspberry on this one. So again, I'm starting out with the first layer here. And what I like about these bigger images is that you can add additional texture by swiping up from the base of the blooms. It just kind of allows you to add additional dimension on these things. So again, I'm using the Altenew mini brush blending tools, which I just love. I've got a whole bunch of them, and I use them all the time. I keep them in a little container and pull out the different colors when I need to use them. I kind of have one per color. So there's the reveal of that first layer. Isn't that pretty? So here we're going to go ahead and move on. This is actually one of the later layers. And so I'm going to pull out, again, the peeled paint, and I'm also going to pull out picked raspberry for the bloom. So again, I'll just kind of start coloring here again, and I'm using, again, the same green ink blending tool. You'll notice I put a piece of cardstock there, and that's just to cover up the blooms. I didn't want any green blooms on this on this piece. So that's what I often do, is I just grab a cardstock scrap and cover it over there. So again, there's the picked raspberry going in for the blooms. And you'll see I'm kind of tapping off, especially with these darker colors, onto the stencil itself, because again, that allows you to go back and kind of pick the color up And it also allows so you don't get circles. You don't want the big circles from the first, the first touching the paper. So this is the final stencil. And again, it's just got more or less some of the details for the leaves. So again, just kind of rotating, using my circular motion here to add the color, and just kind of moving from leaf to leaf, making sure that I get it all covered. And so you're going to see the final reveal here in just a minute. It really turned out pretty. I mean, I'm more of a cool colors girl, but I really also like these warm colors. So again, we'll go ahead and pull up that stencil and look at that. That is just really, really magnificent. So I'll list all the colors that I used both for the inks and my Copics a little later in the description below. So again, now I'm pulling that negative Celebrate, and you can see I've trimmed the stenciled base, and I've added it onto an A2 base with kind of some flamingo on the side. I kind of wanted to have an additional color on there. So again, here I'll just go ahead and use my Nuvo adhesive to attach it. And we'll move on to the vellum. So I really love the vellum. So here's kind of a helpful tip for you. When you overfoil and get a few extra little lines or dots or things that you don't want, just grab your sand eraser, and that works very, very well for removing them. So here is the opposite, the back side of that foil piece, and it looks kind of white, doesn't it? So what I'm doing is I'm using my Copic markers. So this is RV04, and then I used RV17 for details later on. So again, I went ahead and just colored in the back side of the blooms, and then went back and, did kind of some swiping from the bottom to add some details, and you'll see that in a minute. I also used green 94 and 99 to color in all of the leaves. So again, there is that final finished piece, and look how it lights up when you add white cardstock behind it. That I was amazed. So I'm using scrappy tape here, and I put it all the way around the perimeter and also underneath a couple of the blooms there in the center. And you'll see in the end I added a happy birthday sentiment. So again, just kind of running my bone folder over, make sure it's flat. So here we're back to that lilac one, and you can see here that you don't have to color all of the blooms. I actually just used Wilted Violet on the purple flowers, and then I chose a green that was dark enough to actually color in that lilac color. So it worked out really, really well. So right now I'm just kind of adding some gold thread, and then I'm going to end up doing a wax seal using the Let's Celebrate wax seal stamp. That also is new from Spellbinders. Too much fun, just too much fun. So again, I've got that all together. I'm just going to stick a piece of clear tape there to hold the thread in place. And then I'm going to go ahead and use this Let's Celebrate wax seal stamp to create the stamp. So I've added the Tombow Mono adhesive to the back here. And then we're going to go ahead and attach it onto the card base. It's an A2 card base that I also cut a piece of a darker purple. I thought that really looked nice to accentuate that purple color. Oh, too much fun. Too much fun. So we'll get that all centered on there. And then the next thing I did was I did the wax seal. I used kind of a dark purple and one little gold nugget, and melted it down and then pressed it. And so now I'm just using a gold pen to accentuate the Celebrate word. So the Tombow Mono adhesive, the Nuvo adhesive works very, very well for attaching that little wax seal. So again, here's an overview of all the cards. So here is the one on colored cardstock. This is the one that I stenciled. And here is the Copic marker. So I'll list all the numbers below. And again, it's Teri with Teri's Mailbox presenting for ScrapbookPal's YouTube. We'd love to have you come and subscribe to our channel. Have a great day.